Hermes is the gift that just keeps on giving. There is always something to talk about this brand. These bags that most of us handbag lovers, handbag enthusiasts are obsessed with. Okay, a lot of you maybe have more sense than me and know not to get totally obsessed with tiny little things like this that cost this amount of money. But certainly I have to say that I'm in the gang now of obsessed Hermes people. When it comes to the Mini Kelly, certainly, and the Constance, I adore them. And if someone were to say to me, what would you do for the Mini Kelly of your dreams? What would you do if you could have a whole array of these in all the colours? Well, I don't really think I should answer that on camera. Lol. Jokes, obs, maybe. Because there's a love affair going on between me and this little bag, and these bags as well. I love the Constance too. But it does mean that sometimes, because the addiction level is high and because so many people desperately want their dream Hermes bag, they are so expensive on the resale market. They are so difficult to get in store. I have a video on my channel talking about how I got this Mini Kelly from the store. I was on the waiting list or the wish list for this for 5 years. And I'm not a patient person. 5 years. That is a very, very long time to wait for a tiny little handbag. So you can see whenever the demand for these bags so far outweighs the supply. And when people are very, very invested financially, probably emotionally as well, in a lot of times at getting their dream bag, why you can start to act a little bit crazy or to do crazy things. Like, we've all watched the videos of people who have bought lots of things and then their bag still didn't come, and they found that very difficult to accept and they were very aggrieved by it. And if you have been spending in a store that has a pre-spend, buying lots and lots of things in the hope that you're then going to get your dream bag, you can understand why somebody would get a bit annoyed about it. Now, obviously there's the counter argument to that. Well, you put yourself in it, you know what you're doing, you know that it's a game, you know that there's the journey, you know that you don't know what you're going to be offered or when you're going to be offered it, etc, etc, etc. But it does mean that we turn to alternative options. This one I got from the store, this one I bought pre-loved. And it means whenever, if you desperately want one of these bags and it's not coming from the store, or you don't have a relationship with the store, or you don't buy any of the other things, you may not be prepared to wait to try and get it from the store. So you will look elsewhere, or you will look to an alternative method or means to try and get the bag. For me, I bought this one pre-loved. I love this bag. No regrets in doing that at all. But the gift that keeps on giving, that is Hermes, is back in the news with another lawsuit. If you follow luxury news, if you follow luxury YouTube, if you even follow my channel, you will have seen a video I did maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm not exactly sure when it was, of talking about the Hermes lawsuit. There was a lawsuit taken in America by two plaintiffs, the plaintiff being the person that brings the suit, against Hermes, and it was to do with the alleged practice of linked purchasing, that you have to have, allegedly, a pre-spend, that you have to go and buy other things in Hermes before you get the chance to be offered one of these bags. And they brought a lawsuit on that, and they said that it was illegal, contrary to certain aspects of state law. I think, I'm not an American lawyer, so I'm not exactly sure on that, but contrary to certain parts of American law, that you couldn't link spending, and that it was anti-competition law and that it shouldn't be allowed to happen. Now, that lawsuit has went through the courts and Hermes were successful in that. Hermes successfully defended that. It was thrown out by the courts, and the courts found that there was nothing that was done that was breaching the law and didn't find for the plaintiffs in that case. But here, that one has finished. That one is over, and here we go again. This is coming from an article that Privé Porter have publicised, and I will link them down below, and they have this on their blog at the moment. And what it says is Privé Porter insider report, alleged Hermes boutique insider scam rocks Detroit luxury scene. And they have breaking news, Hermes boutique insider scandal. And it is quite a scandal when we get into what's alleged to have been happening. This is able to happen because people, myself included, are so desperate with certain Hermes bags. People desperately want, not everyone, some people have more sense, But people desperately want a Birkin, or they want the Mini Kelly. I was obsessed with getting a Mini Kelly. I adore this thing for this tiny little expensive thing. And there are so many people that are in that position. It makes this sort of thing, unfortunately, an option for someone that wants to take advantage of that. You will always get people in life that want to take advantage of certain things. And if they see that there is a whole class of people, a whole group of people that are desperate to do something, if they can find a way to take advantage of that, make money of that, because when you're that desperate or that committed to trying to get something, you may not be thinking in your most rational mind. And there is a saying that if something seems too good to be true, it is too good to be true. But if you have the option to have something presented to you and you desperately want it, you may not be thinking that sensibly, and you may not be thinking it through that, no, that's too good to be true and I shouldn't do that. And that allows people, scammers, to take advantage, alleged scammers, to take advantage. And it opens up this type of scenario. And what is reported on Privé Porter, Amelia, is that they have learned of a developing legal case that could send shockwaves through the luxury retail world. And it actually could, whatever you read what it is that's alleged. This lawsuit, according to court filings and multiple first-hand reports, it is reported, an assistant manager at the Hermes boutique in Detroit is alleged to have orchestrated an insider scheme involving the sale of counterfeit handbags under the guise of, and get this, employees only online shopping portal. Now, this is what I mean, and I am not laughing or in jest at anyone that fell for this, because that has a ring of believability to it. What they allegedly set up was the creation of what was supposed to be an online shopping portal for Hermes employees to get employee discount. So you could go on, log on somehow to this online portal, and you could get a Birkin, or you could get a Mini Kelly, or whatever the bag was, a Kelly that you wanted. But it was under this shopping only portal for employees. And what it says in the report is the assistant manager, reportedly Balel Chaudhry, and a possible accomplice are named as defendants in the recent lawsuit. They say, and the lawsuit is Mubarak v Hermes Inc., and there is a case number. I will link this article down below if you're interested in this. They say that the plaintiff, Ali Mubarak of the Mubarak law firm, has confirmed that Hermes itself has also been named as a defendant, though the luxury house is not accused of any direct wrongdoing. So what allegedly happened is that, according to early reports from clients and boutique insiders, is that the assistant manager allegedly told select Hermes clients that an Hermes employees-only online portal existed where they could buy Hermes bags at a special internal discount. Now, if someone told you that and you trusted that person, they work in the store. So that gives this person an air of believability and respectability. They're the assistant manager in the store. And if that's maybe your SA and you've worked with that person for a long time and built up a relationship, and they know that you desperately want the bag is maybe not coming, and they're saying to you, listen, don't be publicising this. Don't be spreading it around, because obviously I can't be offering this to all of my clients. But as you, a very special client, there is this employee way to get a bag. And I can see that you desperately love this bag. So maybe we should pursue this way, but it would be strictly between you and I. And you can see how the conversation, I mean, that is not reported. That is just how I see that conversation could have went. And I think you can see how that conversation would go. What it says is that buyers were instructed to pay privately, often by direct transfer, so not to the store. Because don't forget, this would be being sold as, I will use my employee access and my employee discount to get this bag for you. So you're going to have to transfer the money to me, and then I will buy it as if it's for me. I will buy it with your money, and then I will give you the bag. And if that's how you're being told this, and you trust this person because they work in Hermes, you can see how people did that. And they were told there would be no boutique receipt issued. And again, if you're buying a bag at an employee discount, that kind of would make sense. So you can also understand why people believed that. This goes on to report that several victims allegedly paid significant sums, get this, some exceeding $50,000, either for access or for the bags themselves, because I'm sure not everybody's just getting to use this portal if it existed. So if you want the bag, you're probably going to have to pay the sales associate an access fee to this portal, which allegedly turns out to have been selling counterfeits. Deliveries were reportedly handled outside the boutique, including personal drop-offs, and a growing number of recipients later discovered that their bags were counterfeit. To date, at least 37 alleged victims have been identified, according to sources close to the case. And the case has been filed on the 1st of October 2025 in Michigan Circuit Court in Wayne County. The defendants are Bilal Chaudhry, Danielle Chaudhry and Hermes. The counsel plaintiff firm is Mubarak Law Firm, and it's a business claim. And the case number is 250153323CB, if anybody's interested in actually looking up the papers. Hermes' role, the role of Hermes, they are named on the lawsuit. Industry observers say it is highly unlikely that the company had knowledge or involvement in the alleged fraud. I would believe that they didn't, not having read the papers in this or knowing much about the inside of it. But Hermes are so particular about selling their bags and keeping the exclusivity and making you wait for their bags. I cannot see in any way that they were involved in some sort of scheme to sell bags that were counterfeit as if they're real and put those out into the market and therefore dilute their brand. I just can't see them having anything to do with that. A spokesperson for Hermes was not immediately available for comment on this article, but insiders expect the company to cooperate fully and provide authentication records for any bags in question. And one would imagine that that is what Hermes will do. I would imagine they will be horrified at such a thing happening by someone they employed through their boutique. Obviously they know. Doesn't take a genius. Obviously they know. There are counterfeit bags being sold. There are counterfeit Hermes bags being sold. We all know that. It's not a big secret. But it's something very different for a brand like Hermes that really value keeping their brand and their private nature of their business, to have this being done through one of their, allegedly, through one of their boutiques, to have an assistant manager in their boutique actually selling these bags as if they're coming from the store. I think that's something altogether different, and I think Hermes will be pretty furious about this. Privé Porter have put out a statement. They say, as leaders in the Hermes secondary market, Privé Porter have always emphasised full transparency and chain of custody verification, and this case underscores exactly why that matters. And they are reporting on this because they want to spread the word that this is going on. Nobody likes to see anybody buy or hear of anybody buying a counterfeit bag that you thought was genuine. You thought you were buying a genuine bag, you paid the price for a genuine bag, and somebody has scammed you and sold you a counterfeit. Nobody likes to hear, nobody with any morals wants to hear that or likes to think that that's happening to people. And they say in their statement that the risk to collectors can be enormous unless they're buying from somebody that is really trusted. And that's true. We all talk about being concerned about buying on the secondary market or the resale market in case you're buying something that's not authentic. And we talk about authentication services and trying to do the best you can to protect yourself. So I totally get that a website that sells pre-loved or secondary market Hermes bags would want to highlight the risk of this, because nobody wants to see this happen, and nobody wants to see this happen to somebody. Even if you don't know the person, it's just a horrible thing to happen. They have said on their blog, and I will, as I say, link this, if you've purchased an Hermes bag directly or indirectly through a boutique employee or were offered employee access to special stock, contact them confidentially at sales@privéporter.com. And under what happens next, they have said that court proceedings are expected to continue in Wayne County over the coming months. The claim is not yet public record on all databases, but filings have been confirmed by multiple sources. They are going to monitor this and continue to report on it. And they're saying, obviously, that all statements herein are based on information allegedly reported by third parties and publicly available legal filings as of October 2025. And the individuals named are presumed innocent until proven otherwise. What a scandal. What a scandal. That is a scandal. If you have an assistant manager in a store, in an actual Hermes boutique, the holy grailed place that is Hermes if you are a handbag lover and collector, and you have one of the actual employees running this scheme where they offer you access to this very special portal that's meant to be employees only, that has a discount, although I'd imagine you pay for the privilege of getting access to this portal. and it's counterfeit. And you trusted that person. It's being ran out of the actual store. So can you imagine, for the person allegedly running this scheme, the access to clients they have? The access to people coming in there every day, desperately trying to get these bags. Is my bag in yet? Can I get a bag yet? What bags are coming? They have so much access to so many people that are queuing up to buy these bags. If you're someone that wants to take advantage of that, it's scary how easily accessed that is. And it's scary to think that somebody was running that from an Hermes boutique, and there's at least 37 people reported in this article who have paid over lots and lots of money, who may have been scammed, and their bag may be a counterfeit. So let's keep an eye on this story, because these types of things, when they break, really do interest me. I was interested in the last Hermes lawsuit. I think it's interesting to see what goes on in this community outside of just buying and looking at the pretty bags. Let's keep an eye on it. Let's see what's reported and see what happens. But this one I think is quite shocking, and I am appalled for anybody that was impacted by this, that lost their money through this. And it's shocking that somebody, an employee, would do this. But people do things and crazy things, and there's people that will always take advantage. So maybe I shouldn't be as surprised as I am. And I'm sure when it comes to high-end luxury goods, there's probably a lot more goings on and unsavory things happening behind the scenes that none of us really think about or know about or want to know about. And this is probably one example of those. Let me know what you think of this. Let's keep an eye on it and see how it develops. If there is any more reporting, I will keep you up to date. If you're interested in that, subscribe so you can see the further videos. If you've enjoyed this chat in any way, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you're not done with me yet, I'm going to leave another video for you on the screen to enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.